Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. And today it's back into Gary Grigsby's War in the Pacific Admirals Edition. This is our play by email challenge against the devilish Mr. Laudric. And you may well remember last turn we had now, I've gone back and forth. You can't really call something a tragedy in a war game unless it's like a mistake or we had something sink that was trying to get out of port or something. This was a disaster because it was caused by Lodric sailing four full task forces up into Bombay, where we had the entire British Indian Ocean fleet, or most of it, and sinking a carrier and a battleship. We've talked about how that happened and the mistakes that would cause something like that to happen, but also you just have to say good job by Lodric. Sometimes you got to tip your cap. That being said, he's still offshore there at Bombay, and we'll see. I mean, is he going to do any follow-up attacks? I did move the fighters and the fighter bombers as close into Bombay or into Bombay itself if I could, but I brought every damn fighter on the map that I could get somewhere close to run cap over Bombay to try to protect those ships that still remain. Now, most of them are heavily damaged, but as long as they're in the port of Bombay, they shouldn't sink unless he hits them again. So, I've tried to bring everything I can for Cap there. He's also landing in Java, so down in the Dutch East Indies. We'll be checking that out, and then we'll see. I mean, always Nomaya, Suva, Pago, all of our southern Pacific islands are constantly in danger at this point of the game. So we'll see if he makes his way down there. His second carrier fleet. So we know one carrier fleet. We now know is over by Bombay. I think the second one is still over in the Port Moresby region. We'll see how much he bombs Moresby. He's eventually going to come after it, and I don't think we can stop him from that. So let's get going and see what Mr. Laudric had in store for us this time. And off we go. So it is February 17th, 1942. We're going to see the 17th and the 18th. And all eyes on Bombay, certainly, because there will almost certainly be follow on attacks. We'll see if we can kind of get Cap up and lessen those, or I don't know. I mean, maybe a lot of his fighter crews are tired. How many sorties can he run? I just don't know. We'll find out. All right, he's unloading there on Papua New Guinea as he again is going to be coming after Port Moresby, but he's on the east side of the island now. We've got some stuff merging out by Perth, some things down by the Panama Canal, again by Perth, merging a lot of escorts in with tankers and cargo ships. I've got a lot of destroyers at Perth, and I keep running them out and ferrying or escorting tankers and cargo ships back and forth until I feel like they've gotten out of the danger zone as they come in and head out to Cape Town. Okay, this is off Ambon, and we've talked about this a little bit. He brought an insufficient force the first time around, and he has not been able to take Ambon yet. And so now he's back to try to bombard the port. And you can see we've got guns, coastal guns, that are firing back at him. Our coastal guns have been really ineffective in this game. Against the AI, you often get hits against Japanese surface ships, but we just haven't this game for whatever reason. I mean, you don't really control them; they're sitting there, and the AI does it or fires back. As you can see, if we go back up here, it'll say 6 coastal gunshots fired. Okay, well, I mean, we don't control that. He had 2 light cruisers and a bunch of destroyers. He caused 14 casualties, 4 airbase hits, runway hits 1, and port hits 3. Okay, well, that's going to be his base soon enough, so damage it all you want, my friend. He's there at Salamaua, is where he's unloading on Papua New Guinea. As we go through the phase of the game, I forget how many there are. I think each turn there's something like 50 phases. Not just each turn, each day, I think there are like 50 phases. Okay, back down here at Salamaua, he's unloading. Okay, we had another merger there with an escort merging. Now you don't see that on the map for whatever reason. It doesn't show you, but it just gives you a message when things have merged. All right, we're reporting ships. These are all of our aircraft that are doing recon, etc. Now we saw 9 ships down there by Perth. We'll have to check that out. Now you see, we're seeing all of his ships that are off the coast of Bombay. All right, well, the first thing we're going to see this time is the usual sweep over Hengyang or over in this area. Again, I mean, we just essentially have like 3 planes in all of China, fighter planes anyway. 26 Sally's in on this group east of Yan'an, and he's going to cause 19 casualties. We damage 1 plane. Now into southeastern China, the usual bombing runs he does every time. 1 damage Sally, 123 casualties. That's good return for him, obviously. 16 ands in on that same group. 2 damaged planes, no casualties on the ground. That's good return for us. 6 more ands on a follow-up run. And again, no, he doesn't hit us, but we don't damage any planes that time either. Oscars, which are fighters, up sweeping above Hangyang. Now he's going to bomb this group that's west of Yan'an. So I've taken off from Yan'an. Now you see this stack, you can see the notch. It's heading this way. I wanted to link these up. Spoiler alert, that does not happen. And I have to eventually take this group and start heading it east to this road, mainly because I wanted to see what he still had back here. But we'll get to that part of the game eventually here. We damaged 10 planes, okay? He causes 502 casualties on the ground. I was going to say 10 planes damaged because some of those won't make it back to base probably is pretty good for us, but man, 502 casualties as these guys are out on the flat kind of deserty surface out here. They're easy to hit with bombers. 191 more. So we lose over 700 men here. He has 11 damaged planes, none of which we know that went down. So that's again great return for him. 13 Sonyas. Now this group is across the river trying to get either to Hangyang or Changsha, one of the two, whichever one seems easier. We damage 2 planes and we only take 6 casualties. We're up here in the mountains, much more difficult to hit us from bombing runs when we're in the mountains. And now our troops on the ground are radioing in when they've spotted Japanese planes. 9 Sonyas in on this group. Um, Nothing happened there. No casualties anyway. Okay, well, we were talking about, where else could his carriers be over here? And indeed, they're right off Port Moresby. They're right here. And we do have a couple of AKLs sitting in the port. I was trying to get supply in here, and I thought, well, it's worth a point or two. The Kuyong is worth a point. Okay, he sunk it. I mean, that was a risk that I was willing to take to try to get a little supply in here. But he's got that well covered at this moment. Whether it be Rangoon or Port Moresby, because Rangoon and Port Moresby are kind of your furthest outposts, really, as far as trying to get supply into them early in the game. It's well worth trying to send 1 or 2 point ships up there because if they get in, they can get enough supply in to last weeks, right? So you send them up there, they're probably going to get destroyed and sunk. But it's risk reward, right? So we have planes out there at Suva that are spotting his submarines. I wish they would get some torpedoes in the water, but I don't have any torpedo planes up there. So, wishing that it's just not going to happen. I mean, none of those carry torpedoes like the Marauders do not. The Mitchells do not either. We damaged 4 planes. Okay, this is this group that's trapped southeast of Nanyang. I was trying to get them out. They were originally part of this stack, but they got separated, and now he's like, locusts on these guys. We do damage 4 planes, and we take 112 casualties on the ground. All right, they're getting bombed again with 20 IDAs. He takes no damage planes. We take 95 casualties. And now his carriers are going to hit Port Moresby again. I think we have another AKL up here. We'll see. Yep, they're the Darvel. Boy, how would you feel here? Your one little lone cargo ship, one of the main Japanese carrier forces is out here. You're not going to live long. Yeah, that just immediately sinks. It didn't even wait around to say it had heavy damage. It's just bomb hit six and sunk. All right, two 1 point planes, or 1 point ships. Sorry. Those kind of ships really, I mean, that's just the cost of doing business. Those are to be expected. Losing carriers and battleships, no. What happened last time was not to be expected, but you're going to lose these, cargo ships trying to get into dangerous places. All right, we're already into the land move attack phase, which means there were no sorties run into Bombay, at least on day one, February 17th. He is now deliberately attacking Ambon. So we've been lobbing shells out at him, right? It's been our bombardment that's been happening out here because once he landed on the beach, he didn't have enough troops to take Ambon, and it looks like maybe he still does not. Um, if you look at the force breakdowns here, he's got 3,200 men, 24 guns, no vehicles. We've got 2284, 25, and 0, but we're sitting in the base, right? So once you do, and it's a fort level two. So this was the raw values, and this will show you how much better the Japanese troops are than the Dutch troops. They're twice as good, essentially. I mean, he does have a few more men, but they're essentially twice as good. But when you take into account the fort level two, the adjusted, once they put it through the blender, 40 is his adjusted assault value. Our defensive value is 115. And you can see our modifiers. Always look at these, check these out. Terrain is in our favor. Okay, forts in our favor. Leaders, we've got a good leader out here. Disruption, no, we are a little disrupted and our morale is a little down, as you might imagine. But he takes 322 losses, we take 72. One of the few land battles that we've won in this game so far. All right, now he's deliberate attack at Salamoa, but we've got nothing at this base, so he's just going to take that by default, and they have captured that. So now he's building his little ring here on the eastern side of the island. I'm sure he'll come here next, maybe hop here, or maybe he'll come straight for Moresby. We'll see. Now we're going to bombard, insult to injury. Now we're bombarding his guys outside of our gates. So Ambon has really slowed him down right there. That's great. Good for us. All right, now we get all the expansions here. So that was a very quiet turn. We repulse the assault on Ambon, and we lose two 1 point cargo ships. So all in all, very good. February 17th was much better for us than the 15th or the 16th. All right, we got some destroyers that are going out of commission for refit at San Francisco. That's good. They'll come back with potentially some more ASW, potentially some more anti-aircraft capability. So may as well. You just want to make sure you don't have too many at any one time being taken out of commission. And how does that work? Well, on the ship itself, it'll ask you if you want to upgrade and you can turn that to yes or no. So we start the game with everything on no so that I have to manually go and tell it to upgrade myself. You pick that on the options at the start. We get a new KV. We get what appeared to be new planes down in the southern part of India there. It could be something I just flew there because it will tell you that they've arrived. Not sure if those were new or if I just flew them over there. Could have been part of my Operation Bombay, trying to get as many planes up by Bombay as I could. All right, it's now February 18th, so as I said, the 17th, pretty dang quiet for this game anyway. This game has been wild considering we're just a little over, we're 2.5 months in essentially. All right, Dutch sub. Let's see who found who. I think they found us. The PB Maru, it appears, has found one of our Dutch subs. That's just, I put him right around the bend here. So if he came down here, we could maybe get on something. But nobody got hit there. I don't even think he dropped depth charges, and we didn't fire any torpedoes. So that was just a sighting. We sighted him, he sighted us, but nothing really happened. Oh, interesting. All right. So he's got a battleship task force that's come around to Moresby to bombard the coast. And we're seeing a lot of destroyers. We saw the battleship straight up. Okay, two battleships, the Kirishima and the Hai. And then he's got, what, six destroyers here. So 60 casualties reported on the ground. Airbase was hit for 6 points, airbase supply for two. The runway was hit for 25, and port hits five. Now, there's two ways to think about this. If we were really trying to cling on to Port Moresby, we'd be like, damn, the runway got hit for 25 out of its 100 points. That's tough. I mean, you get up to a certain level, you're going to take all kinds of operational losses trying to land there, and it just gets to a point you have to get your aircraft out of there because they're not going to have any runway to land on. But as it is, I'm pretty resigned to the fact he's going to take Port Moresby, so he's really hitting his future runway, right? So when it comes to Moresby or Rangoon or Palembang, places that are kind of the dividing line of, you could potentially hold on to them, but you may lose them as well. Once you've resigned yourself that you're going to lose them, you want all the damage there that you can get. So if we keep putting up a good defense and he has to keep bombarding it or bombing it, that is actually a good thing for us because it's going to be his base eventually. So the more damage, the better in that situation. Now, I certainly haven't given up on Rangoon. We are going to lose Palembang, and I do believe we'll lose Port Moresby. So the more he damages Palembang and Port Moresby, the better. And any production, especially up at Palembang, like the oil refineries and whatnot, you want to turn them off of repair so that you're not repairing them for his benefit. You know, the more you repair them, the better shape they'll be when he captures them. So always think about that. Let's see. I'd be shocked if he doesn't have follow-on attacks on Bombay, but maybe he's scared that we'll get something out there. Okay, the Grayling is out here. It's a U.S. sub. It has been found by a Japanese destroyer. Unfortunately, oh, okay. So his battleship group, this is that same group, right? The Kirishima and the Hai. They bombarded and now they're taking off. Well, we were in the right spot because you might get lucky here and get a torpedo into the side of a battleship. I mean, that's like best case scenario, right? But instead, his escorts, the destroyers, found us first. So we did an ASW attack. Grayling is sighted by an escort. You see here, it doesn't look like he dropped any depth charges or anything. Nothing happened. We didn't fire any torpedoes. And if we did, they would have been marked 14, so they probably wouldn't have hit anything anyway. All right, these are our plane sightings again. Okay, Oscar's over Hanyang. So this is just a replay of yesterday. He's sweeping out over Hanyang. He finds nothing. Now he's bombing east of Yan'an. One damaged plane, seven casualties. Okay, we'll take that, certainly. Now these guys are the groups that are the stacks that were in Kukong, and over here on the east side of the river, they're trying to limp their way back up here to Hanyang. They're getting bombed along the way. We damage one plane and we take 42 casualties, and then he's got 18 more IDAs coming in on a stack there. No damage planes, 36 casualties on the ground, and then he's sweeping out over Hanyang again, trying to lure our cap up. He's flying his Oscars at 16,000 feet. Just something to keep in mind. You always want to be higher if you can be. Western side of Yan'an, we've got about 50 bombers out there. 5 damage planes, 168 casualties. So these guys have taken almost 1,000 casualties this turn. We've damaged like 15 planes over that group, and he's got a lot more bombers in on this group or on this run. 159 casualties, 6 damage planes. So what is that? Like 21 damage planes, about 1,100 casualties, I think. Still good return for him. I mean, look, if 10 of those planes went down, maybe it's not so bad, but I think he's getting great returns here in China. 13 Sonyas, we damage one, take 31 casualties. Bombing into southeastern China again. 9 Sonyas, nothing happened. What was the weather? It was in light rain, so not the best weather to be bombing in. Okay, this is our bombing run. This is coming out of Darwin. And what I was trying to do is get up here and hit this port and maybe find some ships in port. And here you see he's got a couple of ships here, potentially there. We don't hit anything. I'm flying these guys way up, 25,000 feet. They drop 8 total 500-pound bombs, but at that altitude, early in the game, I mean, we just don't have good enough bombardiers to hit anything at that altitude. I just left those to commander discretion. So, basically, I'm just letting the commanders decide if there's a target out there they want to hit or go after. They're not hitting them, but if they want to go out and try to hit something. All right, this is a cruiser off of Bonjour Mason, and so they are going to start trying to bombard Bonjour Mason. We don't really, I mean, we have a few units here, but they're not very strong. 2 cruisers, you can see how much more damage the cruisers do than the light cruisers. 2 cruisers, a destroyer, and a cargo ship. Okay, interesting. 174 casualties reported here. And now he's starting to unload troops. So we reported that to be a cargo ship. It's almost certainly a transport if he's landing troops. Like I say, you don't always get perfect information in this game. Oh wow, we're all the way to the land attack phase. I'm really, really surprised he didn't follow up at Bombay. He may have let us off the hook there a little bit. Allied bombardment at Ambon, so we're lobbing shells at these guys again. They decided not to attack on February 18th. and now we're into the expansions of our fortifications. So that's really it. I mean, what an incredibly quiet turn. Maybe it makes some sense given all of the action last time. Really, really shot. Maybe he just doesn't want to take the chance of leaving his carriers in the same spot for 2 turns in a row, which could be smart. We don't really have any way to counter him up there. We don't have the ships, we don't have the planes to do anything to his carrier group. So it's not like he was in danger up there, but maybe he was afraid we were going to send something over there that we actually in reality don't have. But I think we got let off the hook there a little bit. Now you say, well, we lost a carrier and a battleship. That is true, but we had a lot more still there that was damaged, couldn't move, couldn't do anything. And so it looks like he's sailing back to Singapore, where I believe he's now got that carrier group based. And I will certainly take that. Yep, here's all of our units that are arriving. So we are not going to get an attack at Bombay this time. Big sigh of relief at Allied Command. I think again, look, I don't want to cry. I don't know what his situation is out there. It's a long way for a carrier task force to go, and maybe he just doesn't have the fuel to stay there. But no follow-on attacks, so much better turn for us. We lose 2 points on, a couple little cargo ships where we took the risk. We do not get any Japanese ships sunk this time. The air war over China, he did cause quite a few casualties to that group west of Yan'an. We did damage, over 20 planes, but who knows what got back to base, what didn't. Overall, though, really good turn, really good quiet turn for us. We like that. So anyway, this has been Strategy Gaming Dojo. When we come back next time, we're going to look at our February 18th setup. We'll try to figure out where that carrier group is now that is sailing, seems like at full steam south of Bombay. Maybe he's going to go try to hit Colombo now as a follow up attack. Could be. Maybe not the worst idea in the world, although we certainly don't have the high value ships there that we did at Bombay. So, anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I'll talk to you next time. Have a great one.